massive climate-controlled data center somewhere in the world.
Yeah, probably quite a few of them, actually.
Right, and its sole purpose, like its absolute only directive, is to figure out how to paralyze your thumb for just 20 more seconds.
It is a pretty staggering reality when you frame it exactly that way.
Yeah.
I mean, we tend to view that lost hour before bed as a personal failing. You know?
Oh, totally. Like when you open up YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram Reels just to wind down.
Exactly. You look at the clock and immediately blame your own willpower. You think, wow, my self-control is completely non-existent tonight.
Yeah, you just feel guilty. But the reality of that vanishing hour is so much deeper and honestly so much more orchestrated than just a simple lack of discipline.
Oh, absolutely. It's by design.
Right, and that's exactly what we are taking a deep dive into today. We've got this really fascinating piece of research titled, Why You Can't Stop Scrolling Shorts.
It's a great piece.
Yeah.
Really eye-opening.
It really is. So the mission here today is to basically deconstruct the exact mechanics of how our brains are being systematically hijacked by these short-form video platforms.
And more importantly, how we might even begin to take back our time from them.
Yes, exactly. Because diving into this analysis, I mean, it was a massive aha moment for me. It completely reframes the whole narrative.
It really does. Because the sheer universal power these apps have over your time, it isn't a glitch in your psychology.
Right, it's not just you being lazy.
Far from it. These platforms, they aren't accidental time sinks where you just happen to lose yourself. They are meticulously optimized ecosystems.
Meticulously optimized. I love that phrasing.
Yeah, because every single micro interaction, from the exact length of the videos to the specific way the next one slides onto your screen, it's all built from the ground up.
By, like, some of the brightest engineering minds on the planet.
Exactly. All to capture and maintain human attention. You are essentially bringing a tired human brain at the end of a long day into a boxing ring against $1 trillion machine learning apparatus.
Wow. Okay, so let's unpack this unequal fight, because I want to move from that big overarching experience of losing a whole hour down to the immediate neurological mechanism.
The hook, essentially.
Right, the thing that grabs you on the very first swipe. So the article anchors its explanation in this concept called variable rewards.
Yes, variable rewards. This is crucial.
So what exactly is happening in our brain the moment we drag our thumb up that glass screen?
Well, to understand the sheer grip of variable rewards, you kind of have to look at the classic casino slot machine.
Okay, a slot machine.
Right. You put your money in, you pull the lever, and, well, the vast majority of the time, you lose. You get absolutely nothing.
Right, it's just flashing lights and disappointment.
Exactly. But occasionally, and entirely unexpectedly, you hit a payout.
Right.
And because your brain can never predict when that next reward will arrive,
Yeah.
you just keep pulling the lever. You become captivated by the uncertainty itself.
So the unpredictability is the actual feature, not a bug.
The unpredictability is the entire engine. Short-form video feeds operate on a surprisingly similar, though, much more sophisticated architecture.
Right, because they have way more data than a slot machine.
Totally. Just think about your average scrolling session. Most of the videos you swipe past are only mildly interesting, right?
Yeah, they might elicit a slight smile, but they generally pretty mediocre.
Exactly. However, every few swipes, you stumble upon something incredible.
Right, like a wildly funny sketch or, a deeply shocking news clip.
Or something profoundly emotional. It hits you hard.
My initial thought when reading that was to compare it to mindlessly eating from a massive bowl of mixed candy.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, most of them are those terrible chalky mints that you don't even really like.
Right, the ones that just taste like dust.
Yes, but you keep reaching your hand into the bowl because there's a perfect peanut butter cup buried in there somewhere.
The mixed candy bowl is a great visual. But we can actually take that metaphor a step further, like into our evolutionary biology, to explain why it works so well.
Okay, let's go there.
So the brain's response here comes down to dopamine. Now, the popular understanding of dopamine is that it's just the pleasure chemical.
Right, the thing that makes you feel good when you actually eat the peanut butter cup.
Exactly. Which the article points out is a massive oversimplification, right?
Yeah, a foundational misunderstanding, honestly. Dopamine is far more complex. It's deeply connected to motivation and, crucially, to anticipation.
Anticipation, that makes sense.
Yeah, from an evolutionary standpoint, dopamine was the biological tracker that kept our ancestors alive.
So it wasn't just about feeling good after a meal.
No, not at all. It didn't just reward them for eating berries. It provided the motivation to walk over the next dangerous hill because there might be a better berry bush over there.
Oh, wow. So it's basically the chemical of the hunt?
Exactly. The anticipation of the reward is often more chemically potent than the reward itself.
Wait, really? The anticipation is stronger.
Yeah, every single time your thumb swipes up, it creates a micro moment of uncertainty in your brain.
Right, your brain is asking, is this next one going to be boring, or is it going to be the funniest thing I've seen all week?
Exactly. And that split second of anticipation causes a massive dopamine spike that strongly encourages you to perform the action again.
So the motivation isn't just consuming the good content.
No, the motivation is the primal hunt for it.
But let me challenge that logic for a second here, because I kept thinking about this while reading.
Sure, what's the hang-up?
If we know, logically, that most of the videos in our feed are only mildly interesting, I mean, if the statistical reality is that it's mostly boring content, why doesn't our brain just get frustrated and give up?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right, like why does the anticipation maybe override the conscious reality that we are actively wasting our time on mediocre videos?
Well, that tension is exactly where the biological battle takes place. Your brain is essentially fighting itself.
Okay, break that down for me.
So on one side, you have your prefrontal cortex. That's the logical, executive functioning part of your brain.
The part that knows I need to go to sleep.
Right. The part that absolutely realizes the content is mostly mediocre and knows you have to wake up early tomorrow. But on the other side, you have the basal ganglia and the brain's reward pathways.
The primal hunt side.
Exactly. These older, more primal structures are wired to relentlessly pursue high-value information.
And they don't care about my alarm clock at all.
They do not care about your alarm clock. They only care about the intermittent payout.
So it's a constant tug of war.
Totally. Think about it. If every single video on the app was amazing, your brain would actually quickly become satiated. The dopamine would level off and you just put the phone down.
Really? That's counterintuitive.
Yeah. And conversely, if every video was terrible, you'd experience no dopamine spikes, get frustrated, and quit immediately.
Right, you just delete the app.
So the algorithms have found the exact mathematical ratio of boring to amazing content.
The perfect mix of chalky mints and peanut butter cups.
Exactly. It's the sparse, unpredictable nature of the reward that keeps the basal ganglia firing on all cylinders. It's constantly whispering to your prefrontal cortex, just one more. The next one might be the jackpot.
Wow. Okay, so the dopamine loop makes us want to keep swiping. But, wanting to do something and actually doing it for 3 continuous hours are 2 very different things.
Very true.
There has to be a reason our prefrontal cortex doesn't eventually just regain control and say, all right, enough is enough.
Right, and that transitions perfectly into what the article calls the physical architecture of the platforms.
Yes, the architecture.
Because it's one thing to want to keep swiping, it's another to be trapped in an environment that makes it nearly impossible to stop.
Right, the psychological hook relies really heavily on the environment to sustain itself.
So how do they design that environment?
Well, researchers focus a lot on this concept of removing stopping points.
Oh, stopping points, okay.
Yeah, to understand how radical this is, we kind of have to look at how humans have historically consumed media, and even just how we navigate the physical world.
We rely on environmental cues, right?
Exactly. We constantly use physical and structural cues to prompt self-reflection. Like traditional television had commercial breaks.
Right, which gave you 2 minutes to realize you were thirsty or tired or needed the bathroom.
Totally. Books have chapters, providing a natural moment to evaluate if you want to turn off the lamp. Even daylight fading is a natural stopping point.
So these pauses basically act as essential triggers for self-awareness.
Yeah, they act like little speed bumps. You finish a chapter, the pacing breaks, and your executive function gets a split second to tap you on the shoulder and ask, hey, are we still doing this?
But the architecture of short video platforms completely obliterates those speed bumps.
Obliterates them. As soon as one video ends, the next one begins automatically, seamlessly.
There is zero friction.
Zero. The brain receives absolutely no structural signal that a unit of consumption has ended. It forces the user into this unnatural flow state where self-awareness is effectively disabled.
It really feels like driving on a massive highway at 2 in the morning.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, like there are no exit ramps, there are no rest stops, the streetlights are perfectly spaced, and there are no mileage signs to tell you how far you've gone.
You're just speeding along in the dark.
Exactly. And because absolutely nothing disrupts the visual or physical flow, highway hypnosis sets in. you just keep driving.
That highway hypnosis is a remarkably accurate way to describe the digital flow state. And what makes this particular highway so insidious is that the vehicle you are driving requires almost zero effort to operate.
Right. Just a tiny flick of a finger.
The research refers to this as the illusion of low commitment.
How does that illusion actually play out in our decision-making process?
Well, when you sit down to watch a 2-hour movie, your brain registers that as a significant cognitive and temporal commitment.
Right. You are actively deciding to block out a huge portion of your evening.
But a 20-second video that registers is completely frictionless. It requires almost no cognitive load and seemingly no time commitment at all.
So when that video autoplays, your executive function easily rationalizes it.
Exactly. It says, hey, it's only 20 seconds. I can stop right after this one.
But obviously, it is never just 20 seconds.
No, because that rationalization repeats dozens or even hundreds of times. The extremely low commitment of each individual unit tricks your brain into a massive cumulative investment.
So you end up spending 3 hours watching 20-second clips.
Something you would likely never have consciously agreed to if the app asked you up front to commit to 3 hours of viewing.
I have to ask, because it feels like these apps are basically weaponizing our own laziness against us.
Oh, without a doubt.
Are they intentionally bypassing the part of our brain that calculates long-term time investment?
The intentional design choices highlighted in the research suggest exactly that.
It's just wild.
By making the start of every new video automatic and keeping the duration incredibly short, the platform actively prevents your prefrontal cortex from ever having a moment of silence to calculate the total time spent.
You are just kept in a constant state of frictionless consumption.
Right. But here is where it gets really interesting, though.
Okay, wait.
A frictionless highway is one thing, but it wouldn't keep us driving for 3 hours if the scenery was terrible.
That is a very good point.
The frictionless design only works because the content itself feels so incredibly, almost impossibly, tailored to our exact hyper-specific interests.
And that brings us to the invisible intelligence running the entire show.
The algorithm.
The algorithm. Artificial intelligence is really the linchpin of this entire ecosystem.
Yeah, the variable rewards and the frictionless architecture provide the structural foundation. But the AI is what makes the trap so deeply personalized and so difficult to escape.
Because it is literally always watching.
Every single millisecond you spend interacting with the interface is recorded, categorized, and analyzed. The data harvesting is relentless.
The article lists exactly what the AI is keeping track of, and it goes so far beyond what most people assume.
Well, way beyond.
We all know it tracks what you like or who you follow, but it also notices which videos you watch until the very end.
Right, and it logs which ones you skip after 2 seconds.
And crucially, and this is the part that genuinely gave me pause, and it tracks how long you hesitate before scrolling away.
Yeah, those micro hesitations are incredibly revealing data points.
But wait, let me stop you right there and push back on this, because tracking a micro hesitation honestly sounds a little overblown.
How so?
Like, how can an algorithm possibly deduce my psychological profile from my thumb hovering over a screen for half a second longer than usual?
It's a valid question.
Right. How does the AI differentiate between me actually being captivated by a video and me just being distracted because my dog started barking or I dropped my keys and I just happened to stop my thumb on the screen?
That is a very natural skepticism. And in a single isolated instance, you're absolutely right. The AI cannot tell the difference.
So it's guessing.
Well, if your dog barks and you pause on a video about competitive power washing for 1.2 seconds, the AI might initially flag that as potential interest.
Okay.
But the algorithm isn't making decisions based on one isolated event. It operates on the law of large numbers and a technique called collaborative filtering.
Okay, break down collaborative filtering for me.
It doesn't just look at you in a vacuum. The AI looks at the fact that you paused for 1.2 seconds on that power washing video.
Right.
And then it immediately compares you to the 500,000 other users who also paused for exactly 1.2 seconds on that exact same video.
Oh, wow.
It analyzes what else those hundreds of thousands of people watch, what they skip, and what they engage with.
So it clusters me into a demographic profile based on a half-second pause.
It builds what data scientists call a shadow profile.
A shadow profile. That sounds ominous.
It is a bit. And if the system then shows you 10 more power washing videos based on that cluster, and you swipe past all of them in a fraction of a second, the AI instantly corrects itself.
Ah, it realizes the initial pause was a false positive.
Exactly. An anomaly. It is the aggregate data, The constant, relentless tracking of every micro-hesitation, loop, and rewatch over weeks and months that allows it to filter out the noise of a barking dog.
And hone in on exactly what genuinely captivates your subconscious.
Precisely.
So it's essentially running real-time psychological experiments on you with every single swipe.
Testing your reactions against millions of other people to see where you fit.
That explains why people constantly say, the app knows me better than I know myself.
Because the app is tracking desires you haven't even consciously articulated yet. It maps your subconscious preferences faster than your conscious brain can recognize them.
That is terrifying.
It's highly effective.
Okay, so if we pull all the threads together here, we have variable rewards, hijacking our ancestral dopamine drive for anticipation. We have a frictionless architectural environment, entirely removing our environmental cues and starting points.
Dick.
And we have a supercomputer utilizing collaborative filtering to build a subconscious shadow profile of our deepest interests.
That's the trifecta.
So the logical next question we have to explore is why?
The motive.
Right. Why do these tech conglomerates invest billions of dollars to go to such extraordinary lengths to build these behavioral modification systems?
Well, we know the baseline answer is engagement equals money.
Right, but for an audience that understands that much, what is the actual mechanism at play here?
To understand the sheer scale of the investment, you have to look at the underlying mechanics of surveillance capitalism.
Surveillance capitalism.
Yeah, the platforms are not malicious entities trying to cause psychological harm for the fun of it.
They aren't just evil villains in a lair.
No, but they are operating in an environment where human attention is arguably the most fiercely contested commodity on the planet.
Our attention is quite literally being strip-mined.
And auctioned off in fractions of a millisecond. It comes down to programmatic advertising exchanges.
How does that work?
Well, the longer a user remains in that frictionless flow state on the platform, the more behavioral data is extracted from them.
Right, the shadow profile gets thicker.
Exactly. And the more highly targeted advertisements can be seamlessly inserted into their feed. Your prolonged attention allows the platform to charge advertisers a premium.
Because they can guarantee a hyper-specific, engaged audience.
It is a pure attention economy.
Yeah.
And in that economy, the incentives are incredibly clear.
Make as much money as possible.
Yes. There's immense financial pressure to build systems that hold attention for as long as humanly possible.
So the psychological hooks, the auto-playing videos, the predictive AI, these aren't just neat technological features.
No, they are the essential tools required to keep you paralyzed in front of the screen so your attention can be commodified.
Which feels intensely bleak, I'm not going to lie.
It can definitely feel overwhelming.
Yeah, if the financial incentives are that overwhelmingly strong and the technology is backed by some of the most advanced machine learning on Earth, where does that leave you, the listener?
Are we just completely powerless pawns in this algorithmic exchange?
Right, are we?
We are not powerless. And that is a crucial distinction made in the research.
Oh, thank goodness.
Understanding exactly how these systems operate, which is, the entire purpose of breaking this down today, is the fundamental first step toward regaining your autonomy.
So just knowing about it helps.
Once you understand the underlying mechanics of the magic trick, the illusion loses a significant amount of its power over you.
The article actually shares some specific actionable habits we can use to defend ourselves, right?
It does.
And they all seem to center around one core concept, which is reintroducing friction.
Exactly. Since the tech companies spent billions removing friction from the experience, our job is to put it back.
You have to manually reinstall the speed bumps.
That's the perfect way to put it.
Things like disabling notifications entirely, which stops the algorithm from reaching into your pocket and pulling you back when you've managed to escape.
That's a huge one.
Or moving the apps off your home screen so you actually have to search for them.
Any little hurdle helps.
Right. Or setting strict time limits on your phone's operating system to create artificial stopping points, essentially forcing your executive function to wake up.
Those are all excellent tactical strategies for disrupting the frictionless architecture. They force a moment of conscious decision-making before you can continue consuming.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here because we just spent 15 minutes establishing how overwhelmingly powerful this technology is.
It is powerful.
Right. So if we are up against a multi-billion-dollar supercomputer designed to eliminate stopping points, weaponize our evolutionary dopamine drive, and analyze our micro-hesitations against millions of other users.
I see where you're going with this.
Is setting a 15-minute screen time alert on our phone actually going to save us? Isn't that like bringing a squirt gun to a psychological warfare battle?
I completely understand that sentiment. And frankly, it is a valid critique.
It just feels so small compared to what we're up against.
I won't pretend that a simple screen time limit is a silver bullet against an algorithmic supercomputer. It is a flimsy defense.
Right.
But a time limit isn't meant to overpower the AI in a test of strength. Its sole purpose is to interrupt the psychological loop.
Okay, interrupt the loop.
The AI relies entirely on you remaining in a state of passive, frictionless consumption.
It needs you asleep at the wheel.
Exactly. So when that screen time alert aggressively pops up and blocks your feed, it breaks the trance.
Oh, I see.
It forcibly snaps your prefrontal cortex back online. It forces you to make an active, conscious choice.
Like, am I going to hit ignore limit and willingly surrender another hour, or am I going to put the device down?
Precisely. The squirt gun might be flimsy, but it works if it shocks you awake.
So it's not about winning a technological arms race at all.
No.
It's about shifting our entire mindset around how we consume digital media.
The source material makes a profound point regarding this systemic defense.
What's that?
The technology itself, the actual code, is not inherently evil.
Right.
The real challenge is recognizing the reality of the ecosystem we are living in.
We have to change our perspective.
Instead of viewing these platforms as benign entertainment utilities where we go to relax, we need to recognize that every time we open these apps, we are stepping onto a fiercely contested battlefield.
A battlefield where our time and our attention are the ultimate prizes.
That awareness is your strongest defense. You can't fight back if you don't realize you're in the ring.
Man, that is so true. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's briefly recap this journey because it really is a massive paradigm shift.
That's a lot to take in.
We've discovered that we are fighting a multi-front battle for our own autonomy. It starts at the biological level, with variable rewards hacking our ancestral dopamine systems to keep us hunting for the next payout.
The primal hunt.
Right. And then we are trapped in a frictionless architectural environment that intentionally removes all natural stopping points and utilizes low-commitment traps to bypass our executive functioning.
The endless highway.
And all of this is supercharged by a highly personalized, collaborative filtering AI that tracks our subconscious micro-hesitations.
The shadow profile.
Exactly. And it's all driven by a surveillance capitalism business model that demands our continuous engagement to auction off our attention.
It is a remarkable and genuinely formidable behavioral modification system.
It truly is. And I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, based on a chilling closing thought from the research we used today.
Yeah, this part really stuck with me.
The author noted that once your attention is captured, everything else becomes easier to influence.
That's the real danger.
So think about this. If these digital platforms have perfected the exact neurological formula, the variable rewards, the shadow profiles, the frictionless design, to keep you scrolling for an hour just to sell you a pair of sneakers or a new face wash.
What's next?
Right. What happens when those exact same mechanics are aimed at something bigger? What happens when that supercomputer is used to influence your beliefs, your values, or how you fundamentally view the world around you?
It's a question we all need to be asking.
Keep questioning what's on your screen.